It is Tuesday, May 10th in the NBA, and I'm back my 3 best picks of the day. Yo, what's going on, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot. Let's recap yesterday like we always do. A 1-in-1 drinking a little bit of juice. Jaylen Brown under 25.5 points. Didn't really have to sweat that one out. A little bit of foul trouble does help us, but that's why we take unders. Only 18 points for him. Now, Draymond Green took his under 8.5 rebounds. I swear, in that first half, every single brick shot, which there were plenty of them, went straight to Draymond Green. He ends with 11 rebounds. Had 8 in the first half. That's 3 in the second half. That's 11. But either way, we're going to get back into it. We have our favorite 2 picks in the Sixers versus Heat game. Then we got the Mavericks Suns. We have 1 pick. So if you're watching this a little bit after that Heat versus Sixers game, consider switching forward to that Mavericks Suns game. But either way, if you are new to the Calling Our Shot channel, we appreciate you for tuning in. If you want to hit that subscribe button down below, really would appreciate it. We are exactly 219 subscribers away from 33,000. We certainly would appreciate it if you want to go hit that subscribe button. We can't do it without you guys' love and support as we grind towards 100K. That's our goal by the end of the year. Join the Calling Our Shot community. You won't regret it. Now also drop a like too if you don't mind, and comment your best bet for Tuesday's slate in the NBA. We'll have our MLB video posted before this one. Definitely go check out that. I got 2 final notes though. Number 1. We're recording our podcast tonight. It will be posted tomorrow morning. We have a special guest. We took last week off as I was traveling, but we have a special guest this week, and it's none other than Guy Boston Sports. If you guys are watching his videos, you're like, I wish I could ask this guy a question. I don't know why you can't ask him in his comment section, but you ask us, and we'll ask him in tonight's podcast that we'll post tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So a special guest. We're excited to have him on. Now, number 2. If we helped you make some money over the past couple days, which we've had on a pretty good run in the NBA and the MLB, consider becoming a COS All-Star. We appreciate all our All-Stars out there. You get a bunch of cool extra perks, like getting the plays an hour early, sometimes even earlier than that. And then you get a couple other cool things like a Discord role, which if you are an All-Star, let me know if you don't have your Discord role, which our free Discord, if you want to join, I think it has over like 3,400 people. It's linked near the bottom of the description. So definitely join. Great place to chat about plays, rage about live bets, whatever you may do. If you want to become an All-Star, we really would appreciate it. Click that join button on the channel or the link in the description. Either way, our newest All-Stars, we got Vince Mac, we got Ken, we got Ronald, we got Killa Cam, we got Arnie, we got Kyle. I'm going to butcher this name. Subhanker? I definitely pronounced that wrong. Darren, Mike, Sebastian, Victor, and a special one, Dan Stone. Dan, your wife Erica is very proud of you. Don't ask why I know that. Now, speaking of Dan, let's move into our first play of the day, because in Game 4, we took James Harden under 9.5 assists, and Dan smacked $5,000 on it. Well, paid out on the hook, and we'll take that. So speaking of our first play, good transition. James Harden, we're taking his under 9.5 assists, minus 136 on points bet. Now, we saw in Game 4 how important it is to get at 9.5. Now, 8.5, I don't mind it there. If it's maybe 9 on PrizePicks, I don't mind it. It might push. But we saw, we have a couple books with 9.5. We got minus 140 on Caesars, minus 145 on BetMGM and DraftKings, minus 158 on FanDuel. Maybe parlay it with something super safe to reduce the juice on it. But most importantly, it's minus 185 on Sharper Bucks. So we got a plus EV bet here. We love to take those. Now, I got to give Harden some credit. Game 4. Hey, you played really well. 31 points, 9 assists. Now, the 9 assists we can deal with today. I would like less assists so we don't have to sweat it because he had 7 in the first half. But still, we'll take it if you only want 9 today. Now, hopefully in Game 5, he comes out shooting. He's like, I knocked down some threes. I hit 6 threes. Go out there. Shoot as many times as you want, Harden. No more passing allowed. Now, we saw in this series, Harden, under, not an only in 1. Not 2, not 3, not but 4. He's under in all 4 games this series, but it's 5, 9, 6, 9. So if he's, based on this trend, he's been going up, then down, up and down. So hopefully down this game, we're in the 5 and 6 assist category. Now, in that, over this time span in these 4 games, he's averaged only 13 assist chances, and 7.3 assists per game. So he's not really averaging a lot of assist chances. Game 4, he did have 16. So imagine that number comes a little bit falling back down to earth. Now, we've also seen Harden under this line in 18 of his last 25 playoff games. Love to see that. Now, he's also under this line in 6 straight games versus the Miami Heat. And that includes 2 regular season games when he had 7 and 8 assists versus them. Now, since the All-Star break, I talked about this on Sunday. The Heat, since mid-February, that's when the All-Star break is, they've only allowed 6 players, only 6 to have 10-plus assists versus them. They've played against a lot of elite point guards, like James Harden, like a guy like Trae Young. Only 6 guys have hit 10-plus assists versus them. They've played 32 games total since the All-Star break. Only 6 guys have hit 10-plus assists. I really love to see that. Like I said on Sunday, Trae Young guy that was third in the NBA in assists per game, had the most total assists in the NBA as a cumulative over the season. He didn't have more than, I think, 8 assists against this Heat team. Heat defense will step up. It's a pivotal game 5. Both teams are going to be playing pretty tough on the defensive side. I don't expect the Sixers role players to knock down as many shots as they might have done at home in games 3 and 4. That's normally how it works. Role players play better at home than they do on the road. So I like James Harden, and I like his under 9.5 assists. We're rolling with it again. I don't mind at 8.5, but he's finished with 9 on the dot, 2 straight in 2 of 4 games. So do whatever you want with it. I don't think it gets close today. We're taking with it. Dan, don't smack 5K on it, but I like the bet. Now, speaking of role players, let's go to a role player in this game. Danny Green, under 8.5 points, minus 102 on FanDuel. Now, you heard me saying 7.5 because that's his line on a couple different books. Now, DraftKings has that plus 105. I'm fine with it. Now, I'll talk about it. He's ended on 8 points a couple different times, but I don't see him ending on 8. This is a guy that shoots majority 3 points. So you can't really... 8 points is not a multiple of 3. So I don't expect him to end on that. Now, he could get fouled on a 3-pointer, or maybe it mixed 2 of 3 and ends with 8 points instead of 7. Either way, I like his under 8.5 points, under 7.5, fine too. Now I have a question though for everyone out there. Danny Green's line in game 4 was 9.5 points. He hit the over. He had 11 points. And he also hit the over in game 3 when he had 21 points. So my question to you, why was his line in game 4 9.5? And now it's 7.5, despite him 7.5 on most books, despite him hitting the over. I don't know how to explain it, except for I think this is a big trap for people to take as over. This Danny Green, he's going under today. So I'm taking the under 8.5 points in games 1 and 2. We saw Danny really struggle on the road in Miami, scored 5 and 3 points. So even if you combine those, he's still under the 8.5 points, which we're getting on FanDuel at minus 102. Now then, games 3 and 4, like I said, in Philadelphia, he's a role player. They play better at home, 21 and 11 points. 21 points was on 7 threes. Last game, he only shot 4 threes, but made 3 of them. So if he goes down in that department, we should be good today. Now we look at it. Wouldn't be uncommon for us to see him shoot poorly again on the road. He shot 35.9% from the 3-point line on the road this season compared to 40.3% at home. Also, Danny under this line in 22 of his last 25 road games. I also wanted to make note that he did end with 8 points on the dot in 4 of those 25 games. So if he does end with 8, I'm going to feel pain because I hate when lines change like this so often, but I don't think he does that today. I don't think he's shooting a lot of 2-pointers. I think he's a lot of 3s. Also, it's hard to kind of hit 2s against this Miami Heat team with Bam Adebayo and PJ Tucker just punching you once you come into the paint. So I don't see it happening in in the regular season. Danny scored 9, 6, and 6 points versus Miami. One of the 6 points was a game in Miami on the road. Look, the other 2 were at home. Sharper books have the under 7.5 points at minus 122. So you can get that at plus 105 on DraftKings. In fact, we can get 805 at 8.5 at minus 102. I'll take it. I love the plus 105 winner. I think that's what we're going to count on. See you later, Danny. We're taking you under 8.5 points, minus 102 on FanDuel. Like I said, totally fine with that at 7.5. So my 2 plays in the Heat Sixers game are James Harden under 9.5 assists and Danny Green under 8.5 points. They kind of could go hand in hand for going the over. So hopefully we don't see Danny Green getting fed by James Harden knocking down a ton of 3s. Think we see that. Let's move on to the second slate. Suns versus Mavericks. Another series tied 2-2. Going to Chris Paul. We're taking your over 16.5 points, minus 106 on FanDuel. Now, it's going to be an interesting game because there's a couple different storylines here. Now, game 4, CP3, he himself had an interesting night. As one, his family was getting hugs from a Mavs fan, leading to an ejection. We saw CP3 saying, "I'll see you outside." I don't even know how old that kid was, but I'm not gonna worry about that. And number 2, maybe if you're watching the video, let me know. Number 2, he fouled out. He only played 23 minutes, had 6 fouls, I think 5 points, more fouls than points. Yeah, that's CP3. We saw him struggle in Dallas, scoring just 12 and 5 points in games 3 and 4. There's a reason they lost both games. And while CP3 is a guy that can call out people, he's one of the main reasons they lost both of those 2 games when they go back to Phoenix, game 5, tied 2-2. And he played much better in games 1 and 2 because he scored 19 and 28 points. Obviously, the Suns won both of those. Now, CP3 over this line in 11. Not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 straight playoff home games, obviously at home today in Phoenix. CP3 also over this line in 19 of his last 25 playoff games. I think this line's a little bit of an overreaction to 2 bad games we've seen in the playoffs. Ebbs and flows. Players go over a couple games and they go under. Hopefully James Harden is just an example of a guy that can go under in 5 straight. But still, look, CP3 is the leader, one of these leaders on this team. And he's known for calling out people. And look, you can't be a leader on a championship team and not hold up your end of the bargain. So I think CP3 steps up today, plays better. He can't possibly, honestly, can't play worse than he did in games 3 and 4. So you got to play better, and I think he will today. It's also worth noting, CP3 over this line in 3 straight game 5s. He scored 22, 21, and 22 points, scoring 20 plus in all of them. It also is worth noting that if you are a live bettor, wouldn't mind waiting to place this one until maybe after the first quarter. CP3, a guy that notoriously does not start fast in games, in the playoffs and really in any game. He normally is trying to feed his teammates to get some points for them. So he normally starts pretty slow. You might get a live line at like 14.5. Think he gets it done regardless. This is CP3. He could score 17 points in a quarter if he wanted to. We'll take his over. We're taking his over 16.5 points. Also, one last note. Consider this. Look, CP3 was the head of the Players Association for 8 years. Now CJ McCollum is the president. You mean to tell me CP3 did not attempt a single free throw in game 3 and 4? Look, I'm not one to say, I'm here to be a conspiracy theorist, but look, you kind of want to make a player at the head of the Players Association, or at least he was for so long. So wouldn't be surprised to see CP3 attempt a little bit more free throws today than he was in games 3 and 4. He can attempt fewer. So I think we might see him get a couple calls. I'm just saying, just putting that into your brain. Take CP3 over 16.5 points. Chris Paul, go the point guard. Go make us proud. Now I'll wrap up the video and talk about my 2 game leans. Now, yesterday, because people are always asking me in the comments, Austin, what are your spread leans? So here you go. Yesterday I said Celtics money line, and I had Grizzlies plus 6.5. Cash them both, and I'm not putting any money on them because they're just leans. But today I'm going Heat -3, Suns -5.5. Let's talk about them. Both home teams. Lost 2 straight games on the road. Think they bounce back and win both these games pretty convincingly. Now for the Heat, what were they doing, man? They could not buy a bucket in games 3 and 4. I don't know their official 3-point percentage, but it ain't that good. I bet a lot of us out here in the call and shot community could shoot about as well as they did. Now, granted, we're not getting NBA defenders in our mouth, but still, they had a ton of open looks. They had a ton of, that was a pause. They had a ton of open looks. Just couldn't knock down shots. A little bit of home cooking will do the trick. They'll knock down some shots today. Heat should win pretty, I'd say by 5 to 10 points, maybe even more. As for the Suns, this is a team, look, the Suns have championship aspirations. You can't go down 3-2 and then go on the road to Dallas. I think they bounce back. We'll see the role players play better. We'll see the Mavericks role players play worse. It's home road. This is normally how it goes. You normally win your games based on your role players, and you're going to need to steal one on the road. I don't think Dallas does that today. So I'm riding with them. Plus, I have Mavericks plus 3,500 to win the championship. I bet that a couple months ago. So they want to go win outright, help my championship ticket. So I don't think it happens. I think the Suns win this one by 8+ points. So I'm taking those 2 as my spread leans. But as always, if you want to set up for PrizePicks, use those links. Longer video, those are 3 official plays. We got CP3 over 16.5 points, James Harden under 9.5 assists, and Danny Green under 8.5 points. I love all those lines if they move a little bit. Not worried about it at all. Let me know your best bets down below. We appreciate you guys as always for tuning in. MLB video coming up on the screen. Go check it out. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.